Good morning everybody, welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in 31st of August 2024. So Keir, the new broom, is full of gloom and doom. Prisons running out of room. Oasis tour coming soon as the Gallaghers are back in tune, ready for their careers to resume. Notting Hill carnival in bloom with balloons and costumes, but with crime is consumed. Middle East unrest mushrooms and more trouble looms, we must assume. With inclement weather and civil unrest, summer 2024 won't go down as the best. And this bummer of a summer for the UK effectively ended with Monday's bank holiday. The next day our PM offered little respite. His vision was like a tunnel with no end in sight. The tone was heavy with any light so distant that most people listening probably missed it. Sir Keir's speech was made at the Rose Garden where Clegg and Cummins once found fleeting stardom. Fixing the foundations is what was written on Starmer's lectern as he lectured Britain. But it seems the foundations are in such disrepair there's little to be done apart from despair. Those pesky Tories mess things up to an extent that the foundations are rubble and the money's all spent. And for that Conservatives bear a heavy load and they should carry the can that they had kicked down the road. The new can-do government must now show they can carry the Tory can with Starmer, their main man. Many observers' attitude was to be unconvinced as Sir Keir's pious platitudes caused them to wince, though the magnitude of the task he certainly evinced. And more tax down the tracks, there were unsubtle hints. Before the election, Keir said he'd be honest. No tax rises for the working people, he'd promised. But we need a pinch of salt to sort the wheat from the chaff when it comes to the offers politicians say they have. They will gladly take a mile if given an inch. Sunak gave Starmer an inch, now we'll all feel the pinch. 'Cause the financial black hole the Tories transferred was at least a mile deep if you take Labour's word. On Tuesday the much-trailed announcement came. The Gallagher brothers were to re-enter the game. Liam and Noel, with their soul in rock and roll, could no longer keep their careers on hold. Arguably the 90s biggest band Oasis will be playing again in 5 different places. After 15 years, fans can once more see them live at 19 gigs announced for 2025. But by the end of the week there was a right old storm over the pricing of tickets to see them perform. Dynamic pricing as used for trains, planes and hotels, now used for these gigs, which didn't go down well. Supply and demand theory applied raw and crude, the price rising as each new online queue accrued. Fans were dismayed and just couldn't understand such behaviour from the ultimate working class band. Blaming the band is to bark up the wrong tree, of course. The business of selling tickets these days is outsourced. The Notting Hill Carnival has become a charade. The festival's fun and frolic has become a facade, concealing the villains working hard with no regard for the boys from Scotland Yard standing on guard. A majority of participants shouldn't be tarred with the same brush as the rogues who had this fair marred, but sadly this year's event was seriously scarred by drugs and weapons and assorted blackguards. Such claims may sound steep, but can be attested by 8 stabbings and 334 arrested. And by Saturday a couple of murder cases were live as 2 of the knife victims lost their fight to survive. And where will the miscreants go when they're caught after being charged by the cops and sentenced in court? Because there's no room in the inmate for any new inmate, just 100 prison places left till others vacate. So low-risk cons will get out early, we're told. After 2/5 of their sentence they could be paroled. This week Lebanon and Israel lobbed many missiles at each other as the Middle East becomes more febrile. Hezbollah said it was retaliation for the July the 30th assassination of a senior commander in their organisation. Israel said they attacked in anticipation, preempting a barrage hitting their nation. Both sides insist they don't want escalation, but then do things to cause exacerbation of what is already a tense situation. And now Israel has carried out operations in the West Bank, causing more destabilization. Somehow, though, in Gaza there were brief cessations of fighting to allow for polio vaccinations. On Monday, the football world mourned the loss of the England team's first ever overseas boss. His appointment when he replaced Kevin Keegan was groundbreaking, controversial and quite intriguing. In 2001, not every England football fan was enamoured by the choice of a non-English man. Traditionalists with attitudes bigoted and staid didn't want foreigners messing with the way we played. But Sven-Göran Eriksson as the FA's selection moved Britain's thinking in a new direction. Just 3 quarter-finals in 3 major competitions didn't completely vindicate their decision, and his off-field affairs and romantic pursuits brought tabloid headlines to embarrass the suits. But elsewhere, the Swede won 18 trophies during a long career in several different countries. Above all, he was the gentlest of gentlemen, for courtesy and good humour, always 10 out of 10. Brought colour to our lives again and again. At 76 we say thanks and R.I.P. Sven. To that most people will concur. Amen.